Damn everything but the circus. And here am I, patiently squeezing four-dimensional ideas into a two-dimensional stage, when all of me that's anyone or anything is in the top of a circus tent. Me. I didn't imagine you were leading a double life, and right under my nose, too. Him. The average painter, sculptor, poet, composer, playwright is a person who cannot leap through a hoop from the back of a galloping horse, make people laugh with a clown's mouth, orchestrate 20 lions. Me. Indeed. Him. But imagine a human being who balances 3 chairs, one on top of another, on a wire, 80 feet in air with no net underneath, and then climbs into the top chair, sits down, and begins to swing. Me shudders. I'm glad I never saw that. Makes me dizzy just to think of it. Him. I never saw that either. Me. Because nobody can do it. Him. Because I am that. But in another way, it's all I ever see. Me. What is? Him, pacing up and down. This, I feel only one thing. I have only one conviction. It sits on 3 chairs in heaven. Sometimes I look at it with terror. It is such a perfect acrobat. The 3 chairs are 3 facts. It will quickly kick them out from under itself and will stand on air. And in that moment, because everyone will be disappointed, everyone will applaud. Meanwhile, some thousands of miles over everyone's head, over 1 billion empty faces, it rocks carefully and smilingly on 3 things, on 3 facts. On I am an artist, I am a man, I am a failure. It rocks and it swings and it smiles, and it does not collapse, tumble, or die, because it pays no attention to anything except itself. I feel, I am aware, every minute, every instant, I watch this trick, I am this trick. I sway, selfish and smiling and careful, above all the people. And always I am repeating a simple and dark and little formula. Always myself mutters and remutters a trivial, colorless, microscopic idiom. I breathe and I swing and I whisper. An artist, a man, a failure must proceed. Me. This thing or person who is you, who does not pay any attention to anyone else, it will stand on air. Him, on air, above the faces, live screams, suddenly, easily, alone. Me. How about the chairs? Him. The chairs will all fall by themselves down from the wire and be caught by anybody, by nobody, by somebody whom I don't see and who doesn't see me. perhaps by everybody. Me, maybe yourself, you away up ever so high, will hear me applaud. Him, looking straight at her, smiles seriously. I shall see your eyes. I shall hear your heart move. Me, because I shall not be disappointed like the others. Face, 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 hand, fin, claw, foot, hoof, Tovarich is to number of numberlessness, unsmiling, with dirt's dirt, dirty, dirtier with others' dirt, with dirt of themselves dirtiest, wait stand dirtily, never smile, shuffle budge, dirty, pause halt, smiling less. Some from nowhere, faces of nothing, others out of somewhere, something shaped hands. These new ignorance, hugest feet and believing, those were friendless, stooping in their death skins, all numberlessly, each otherish, face, 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 all of whom which move do not move numberlessly toward the tomb, crypt, shrine, grave, the grave, toward the grave, all toward the grave of himself, of herself, all toward the grave of themselves, all toward the grave of self. Move with dirt's dirt, dirty, unmoving, move un, some from nowhere, moving, move, unmoving, each otherish. Face, our not there, face, face, our not her, face, 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 our not his, toward Vladimira, life, Ulyanov, our sweetness, Lenin, our hope, all hand, fin, claw, foot, hoof, Tovariches to number of numberlessness, unsmiling, all toward move, unmove, all toward our halt, pause, all toward all, budge, shuffle, all toward, stand, wait, isn't-ish. The dark human all warped, the toward, and face, 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 past Arabian nights and disappearing, numberlessness. Or may possibly there exist an invisible, a final face, move unmovingly, which after several forevers will arrive to hushed look upon its maker, Lenin. Pajalasta, voice belonging to Comrade K, said to a most tough cop, beside shuffle budging end of beginninglessness, before the tomb of tombs, stand unstanding. Voice continues, I, American correspondent, the toughest cop spun upon all of and over smallest me, staring all one awful moment, salutes, and very gently shoves, let the skies snow dolphins, nothing shall confound us now, into smilelessly the entering beginning of endlessness, between these two exhausted its, a bearded and a merely unshaven, now who emotionlessly displace themselves. Obediently, and now we form a dumb me sandwich, and now which moves? Three comrades move. Comrade before me, comrade I, comrade behind me, on and move and on, and always behind comrade behind me, numberlessness. At either side of the portal, rigidity, armed soldier attentioning, stink, warm pause bowels, millionary of man, the unanimal putrescence, floods up from dark, suffocatingly envelops three, now moving past that attentioning twain, each and whose eyelids move, unmove, other facing rigidities, comrades. As when a man inhabits for stars and moons freely himself, breathing always round air, living deeply the color of darkness, and utterly enjoying the sound of the great sun, tasting very slowly a proud silence of mountains, touched by touching what never to be comprehended miracles, conversing with trees fearlessly, and fire and rain and all creatures, and each strong, faithful thing, as when the man comes to a where tremulous with despair, and a when luminous with dissolution, into all fearfulness comes out of omnipotence, as when he enters a city, and solemnly his soul descends, every wish covers its beauty in tomorrow. So I descended, and so I disguised myself. So toward death's deification moving, I did not move. Bearded's cap slumps off. Mine, beardless's, now stone, polished now darkliness, left turning down, the old skull floating, the old ghost shuffling, just in front of me in stink and glimmer, and from whom now forth creeps something timidly, a feeling tentacle cautiously, and which softly touch, trying fearfully how the polished, the slippery black, is it real? Amazedly, and withdraws, diminishes, wilting. Right turn. As we enter the place, I look up. Over all us, a polished slab, reflecting upside, come, move, unmoving rads down. Now a pit. Here. Yes. Under a prism-shaped transparency, lying Tavarich to the waist, forcelessly shut right claw, left fin unshut limply, and a small, not intense head, and a face without wrinkles, and a reddish beard. One appearing quickly uniform shoves our singleness into twos, yanks bearded to the inside, pushes to the outside me, and as on around thee the prism pit movingly, comrades, thee move, within a neck-high wall, in a groove which surrounds the prism, stands at the prism's neuter pole a human being, alive, silent, with a real rifle. Comrades revolve. Wheel we. Now I am somehow for a moment on the inside, alone. Growls another soldier, right turning us, who leave the place, whose walls irregularly are splotched with red frieze, leave the dumb, saccharine, poor bowel ripeness of stink. We climb, and climbing, we're out. Certainly, it was not made of flesh. And I have seen so many waxworks which were actual, some ludicrous, more horrible, most both. So many images whose very unaliveness could liberate is, invent being, or what equally disdains life and unlife. I have seen so many better gods or stranger, many mightier, deeper puppets, everywhere and elsewhere, and perhaps in America, and, for instance, in Coney Island. Death, masked as Santa Claus, strolling. Angry voices off stage. Death, I've got him now. Enter Santa Claus, masked as Death, running. Hello there, what's your hurry? Santa Claus, help, quick, for mercy's sake, they're after me. Death, after you? After me, yes, they're coming. Who's coming? Everybody. Why? It's the accident. Accident? To the miners in the mine. Miners? Wheel miners. Are you crazy? I don't know. Will you tell me something? Tell you what? Does a wheel mine exist or doesn't it? A wheel mine? Yes. Don't be ridiculous. You mean it doesn't exist? Exist? Of course not. In other words, a wheel mine is non-existent, isn't it? Perfectly. Oh, then tell me, how can it maim? How can it mutilate? How can it turn mere people into monsters? Answer me, how? My friend, you've forgotten something, namely that people, like wheel mines, don't exist. Two negatives, you know, make an affirmative. Now, if I may be allowed to analyze, do you want to die? I die? Ha, 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 ha. How could death die? Death? Didn't you know? I'm going mad. You tell me, whatever you are, death or the devil, tell me, how can I prove I'm not to blame for the damage caused by an accident which never happened to people who are non-existent? You can't. My God, but what am I going to do then? Do? Why, my dear fellow, it looks to me as if you'd have to prove you don't exist yourself. But that's absurd and tragic, yet a fact. So make it snappy, Mr. Santa Claus. Exit. From the opposite direction, enter mob, furious. A little girl follows. Voices. There he is, grab him. Listen, Mr. Science, you're going to hang for this. Santa Claus. What do you mean? You know what we mean. Why, who do you think I am? Think? We don't think, we know. You're Science. Science? Science, the crook who sold us stock in a wheel mine. Science, the beast who buries men alive. Santa Claus, stop. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all a mistake. I am not Science. Wheel mines don't exist. And as for burying people alive, that's nonsense. Voices. We say you're Science. Down with Science. Santa Claus. Wait. Ladies and gentlemen, if you all have been deceived by some impostor, so have I. If you all have been tricked and ruined, so have I. And so has every man and woman, I say. I say it and you feel it in your hearts. We are all of us no longer glad and whole. We have all of us sold our spirits into death. We are all of us the sick parts of a sick thing. We have all of us lost our living honesty. And so we are all of us not anymore ourselves. Who can tell truth from falsehood anymore? I say it and you feel it in your hearts. No man or woman on this big, small earth. How should our sages miss the mark of life and our most skillful players lose the game? Your hearts will tell you as my heart has told me, because all know, and no one understands. Oh, we are all so very full of knowing that we are empty, empty of understanding. But by that emptiness I swear to you, and if I lie, ladies and gentlemen, hang me a little higher than the sky. All men and every woman may be wrong, but nobody who lives can fool a child. Now I'll abide by the verdict of that little girl over there with the yellow hair and the blue eyes. I'll simply ask her who I am. And whoever she says I am, I am. Is that fair enough? Voices. Okay, sure, why not? Fine, a swell idea. The kid will tell him who he is, all right. Everybody knows. Santa Claus. Silence. To child. Don't be afraid. Who am I? Child. You are Santa Claus. Voices. Santa Claus? Ha, 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 ha. There ain't no Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Then, ladies and gentlemen, I don't exist. And since I don't exist, I am not guilty. And since I am not guilty, I am innocent. Goodbye. And next time, look before you leap.